In this video, I want to talk about different types and conversation strategies you can use to communicate better, to get your points across, to have a little bit more enjoyable conversations. What's up, team? It's Sherman here from Geek Psychology. So I released a recent video on judging and perceiving. Despite actually not wanting to release it, I kind of forced myself to. A lot of technical glitches. I constantly struggle with audio and editing and stuff like that. But I released it, and it's gotten a lot of nice comments and people relating to it and asking more about how to communicate better and different strategies, different struggles that certain types are going to run into. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about the perceiving function in communication and how you can use that to your advantage, knowing about it and deciding what you can do to tailor your approach to the conversation to different types. So as an INFP, we're talking about extroverted intuition, the NP side of things. So let's go with intuition is ideas, it's imagination, it's connecting the dots, reading between the lines, speculating, and seeking more information in ways that you can't actually know verifiably. Right? It's wondering what if things could happen, how things could turn out. Sensing is more about that verifiable information, what is known, what you can pick up through your senses, what is down the ladder of abstraction, right? What is more relatable in the moment through experience, through actual experience. And that's introverted sensing and extroverted sensing in its own way. Just like extroverted intuition and introverted intuition are going to have they're going to still live in the same realm of speculation and ideas and connecting the dots, filling in the blanks. But they have their different approach to it. As an NP myself, someone who uses this explorer, this alchemist kind of character who's innovating and trying to play with ideas and see what will happen, right? If you just push that button, push the red button, see what happens. I definitely prefer conversations to be more about those ideas and the what ifs. What if there were aliens? What if blah, blah, blah. What if? It's not that I can't do things in the sensory realm. It's not that knowing the tangible aspects of something is not important. It is important, but it's not where I prefer to get my information. It's not the place that I enjoy the most. Right? I want to talk about specifically how different events are going to affect people and the philosophy behind that and how different, that sounds like experiences, but it's speculating on where things will go or how this person could be impacted by this amalgamy of different experiences and ideas and things like that. So it's not necessarily something that you can just pick up on and specifically know, hey, this is what's going to happen. Like I can slice it. I can have some really good insights into the intent or into the impact that something will have, but you're not actually going to know for sure within this realm of extroverted intuition. You know, it's making educated guesses based on that. I know that talking to, let's go with talking to an I. So from my perspective, talking to the NJs in my life, a lot of times the humor does come from bouncing off ideas back and forth, but there's always this little like twist. Things just don't quite line up in the same way all the time. How I will see something is not how he sees something or she sees something. Usually he goes, I'm thinking of a specific ENFJ friend, but he goes, I suppose, a deeper level with his ideas, with his insights, whereas I'm likely to pick up the quick ideas, like something, there's a sign, okay, I'll explain what I'm thinking of right now. There's a sign here in Shinjuku. It spells Newoman. I think of it as new woman. He thought of it as new omen. And with that, our ideas branch off completely, right? And it happens a lot. Like, he'll make a joke and I'll pick quickly from that situation, from that scenario, to the nearest related word or idea. Whereas his are likely to branch off a bit more and then narrow in on something that's still related. It's still in the same conversation, but it's at a different end of the spectrum, I suppose. And through that, yeah, there's a lot of fun in the conversations. We're both speculating, we're thinking about theories and ideas and connecting the dots and playing with those imagination aspects. And so generally things go well in conversation. They're not always going to meet eye to eye, right? But it's still an intuitive conversation. Speaking to other NPs like myself, ENFPs, ENTPs, usually it's similar to that, but we're just firing off quick, fast ideas. Especially my old ENFP friends. It's like, we always called it getting on the ADD bus. And no offense to people with ADD or ADHD, but that ENFP friend had it. It's just like you get on one idea and then you have no idea where you're going to get off, because so many things happen, so many different experiences within this imagination ride here, right? It could bounce back and forth to anything. It's kind of like Family Guy kind of humor. Robin Williams, of course, it's just fast, all over the place conversations. In my opinion, and this could be because I have NE, right, because I'm an NP, it's easier to follow extroverted intuition trail of thought than introverted intuition, because introverted intuition, the ideas are being connected within and then being expressed out in some form. Extroverted feeling, extroverted thinking. Whereas extroverted intuition, it's going to have this general idea that's shared with everybody, and it's going to bounce to the next thing that's closely related. It might be a couple steps removed, but generally, in my experiences, people can pick up pretty quickly on the connection between those things. As extroverted intuition goes down in the stack, if it's tertiary, so the SJs, the ESJs, sometimes I don't quite pick up on their connection, like where it's coming from, but most of the time I do. Talking to the SJs, I have a good ESTJ friend and a coworker that's an ISFJ from my gatherings, my understandings. The ESTJ friend, he's pretty businessy. He wants to talk about how things are going. Am I making progress? How he's making progress? What are the daily aspects of life that have been influenced? And yeah, and it's fine. It's not necessarily where most of my conversations want to be. He also talks a lot about games, but it's more about like, have you played this game? I want to play this game. I don't have time to play this game. I'm going to play this game. It's not speculating deep into like the meaning of the thing. It's, I mean, his extroverted thinking is also impacting it a lot, but you know, it's more like the achievements and how well he's progressed through a lot of the games and what games are coming next up for him, right? Whereas I tend to get lost in connecting ideas or building my own ideas about the games or creating new games in my mind and things like that. The ISFJ that I'm thinking of, he speaks a lot about similar things in great detail. This is what happened over the weekend, and there were this many people that came, and we had this kind of event, and these events are like this, and the next event I'm hoping to do this, and minor changes to that situation that he, the events that he throws and plans and things like that. So it's sometimes, gotta admit, it's kind of overwhelming for my my sidekick, my tertiary guardian, introverted sensing, that he's got that list of experiences that he's trying to keep track of and keep note of all these details and kinship details, birthdays and information and stuff like that. And he's just like, he wrote way too big with crayon, and he's got no more space on his paper, and he doesn't know what to do anymore. And he's just like, I give up. I cannot keep track of all this information. It's just too many things, too much information. It's similar with my stepmom, who's also an ESFJ. My mother-in-law and my father-in-law. They talk a lot about who is doing what. Watching TV or celebrities, family, who is doing what, how things are changing or not changing, not necessarily about ideas and things like that. I think that the ENTP father-in-law has taken on a lot of that. It's probably good for him. He talks a lot about information, but that's more from TI. He's trying to give me TI information because that's his auxiliary. He's trying to give me this analytical scientist type information and support me through my FI struggles. And then the last one is, we'll talk about ESPs. The closest friend of mine that is of this is an ESFP. I've known him for 8 years, maybe 9 years now. Yeah, you can definitely pick up on a lot of NI insights that are coming out, but it's mainly now, what's going on now. And he lives with an ENP, the ENFP friend that I was talking about before, so I think he's picked up a lot of similarities with humor, but a lot of times, yeah, it's more just about the present. I say just about, it's never just about anything, but it's more about like taking some sort of actions to get something going. And if things get too heady, lost in a bunch of metaphors and things like that, or even just like abbreviations like NI, SE, TI, this is not his wheelhouse, so that's a thing as well, of course, but he's just like, I don't know, just tell me what I need to do and I'll do it. Just get me into the mix. Like he's the warrior, right? He's the engaging, instinctive warrior. He wants to run in there, the adventure hero, and he wants to experience more of what life is with his senses, turn things up to 11, right? Definitely true for him. Not everybody, sure, but it's true for him. And so yeah, conversations are generally going to be a little bit lighter. It's a lot more about what is happening now and how can we make it more exciting, more fun, more enjoyable in some way. And what can we do to get things bubbling and fizzing and popping a little bit more. So it's not going to get bogged down in anything. It's not going to get too impractical. I explained to him his personality type, and it was great. He followed along. He was fine with it. couple times we had some miscommunications, but then after it was like, he went home all excited. He had all these ideas that come out, especially at night, or shower thoughts and things like that, because that's when NI is coming out. The prophet, combining, or like seeing where things are going, I suppose. And yeah, so he gets these ideas then, but he doesn't know the steps to get to them, right? That comes in with the judging function, sure, but it gets a little bit overwhelming, and he's like, I just want to do something, so just tell me what I can do, and I want to do it and try it, get the experience, and then, become a new version of me and embrace the moment and see what happens. So those are just some thoughts about the different types in communication, from my perspective, largely, because I'm me. But I did want to say that something that has been kind of controversial before, is that if you understand this system, and if you have observing ego, if you have awareness of the moment, of what's going on, then it's your responsibility, if you care to tailor your method of conversation in a way that the other person is going to get. It's your responsibility to put those words, those ideas in the correct capsule to give them to somebody else, in the correct form of transportation, communication. And if you don't do that, then you can't be upset if somebody else is not understanding what you're trying to say, or not seeing the world in the same way, or a similar way, or a way that is close enough that you can land on the same concept and work from there with it. So, these are the perceiving functions. So you're not going to, if they're different, you're not going to see the world in the same way. And that can cause a lot of problems. I'm not denying that. But what you can do is, if you know the system, if you understand, like, I'm talking to somebody that's probably not going to connect the dots as quickly as I am. Okay, so talk about it in a way that makes more concrete sense. Bring it down to a tangible level. If you're a sensor, and you're talking to an intuitive, do what you can to say it's like this. Bring out the metaphors, the symbols. And it might not be fun for either of us. Like, me doing sensory type talking is not going to be the place that I want to be for too long, but that doesn't matter. If I'm trying to get a point across, then I need to speak the language of the person that I'm talking to the best of my ability, and not expect anything from them on their side in terms of effort to understand. Because it's up to you if you have it. If you have that knowledge, if that ability, that awareness, then it's up to you to do it. And if you're like, well, these people don't understand me, this person doesn't understand me, well, then how can you speak to make them in a better position so that they can understand you? So that's it. That's enough for this video. We just talked about the perceiving functions, but I hope that it was insightful in some way, and I hope that I gave enough context and personal experiences that you could relate to it, and you could see it from my perspective and other people's perspectives to the best of my ability to communicate those. All right? So keep up the lifelong questing. Good luck, have fun. Peace.